Hello everybody, the Nameless Narcissist here once again. Simple man, diagnosed with MPD, giving you the facts of narcissistic personality disorder, things that go on in my head. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. But keep in mind, I am no clinician, so I can only speak to my own experiences. That's what I meant to say. For half of my intro, I had my eyes shut because I was kind of curious if anybody would notice that. Please tell me if you noticed it. I'm very curious. Anyways. Self-awareness, the mystical thing in narcissistic personality disorder, right? The unicorns, as Dr. Romney calls it. Which, in fairness, I do think it's understated how self-aware some narcissists are. I think that a lot of them are aware of their functioning and how they act. They probably don't know it's narcissism, though, right? Because, especially since you go on the internet, you look up, what's a narcissist? And it's like, abusers, master manipulators, like pieces of shit. And it's like, who would identify with that, you know? But anyways, self-awareness affects narcissists, at least in my experience, in really interesting ways. So I think we can all agree I'm a pretty self-aware narcissist. I do a lot of self-reflecting. I've always done a lot of self-reflecting. I've always been basically dedicated to understanding, like, why the fuck did I do these things? It'd be so confusing sometimes. I just do these things just blatantly to my detriment. And I just wonder, like, why? Why? I'm insane. Why would I do that? Or why did I have no control over myself in this moment, right? I'd go on like this wild rage. And once I calm down, I'm like, what the fuck? Why was I so, for lack of a better term, triggered by whatever the fuck just happened? So, and like, I've always had one friend who has been more or less my confidant, where I'm like, tell me why I did this. Why did I do this? Tell me. Every time. And I would listen to her, like, interpretations and basically fit them on. It's funny. I was actually talking to her recently, and she, like, basically acted in high school. She acted as, like, the therapist for, like, basically everybody she knew. And she felt really ashamed of it because it would just basically be copy and paste answers to everybody. And she was like, I think the reason why I liked you is because you were the only one that I would try to do that and it would make things worse. I can see why that makes somebody feel closer to somebody when it's like, oh, not just cut and paste interactions like that. But as I became more self-aware, it didn't change much. It changed a little bit, right? When I understood why I did things and how people would react to them, I'd modify my behaviors in certain ways. But a lot of times, it's like, I knew, and to this day even, I know why I do things, but it's like, I keep doing them. I don't want to say it's like I can't help it, because that sounds like I'm dodging responsibility. But like, a lot of times it feels like I can't. It feels like I have no other option, at least. I can either, like, I can't even conceive, like for example, in social situations where I'm constantly trying to, like, gauge what other people are thinking about me, be entertaining, and stuff like that, I still cannot grasp the idea, as I always say, of just sitting there and just relaxing at a party, not thinking constantly what people are thinking of you. Like this idea that somebody would, like, give a glance at me and me have any assumption that, like, they think I'm being bored, like, and then me not assuming they're thinking I'm being boring. And then from there, needing to be able to charm them to make sure they still like me. Anything other than that doesn't sound like a possibility. I don't even know why people would. I don't know what I would do if that wasn't what I was doing in the moment. I have no idea. So a lot of times it's like self-awareness is great, but it's pointless. No, I wouldn't say pointless, because then you can kind of modify those behaviors in ways that are constructive. And that's honestly probably the best part about being self-aware for me. Like, you know, I know that if I want to get my attention, my self-esteem juice and stuff like that, I can go and, like, basically do some self-sacrificing, self-enhancement shit. And then because I'm aware, I know that my feelings of entitlement towards people basically reciprocating favors like that is not rational. That's a big one too, knowing that even though I'm still experiencing these things, knowing that it's not rational and that I shouldn't blow up over it. Sometimes I still do. Not gonna lie. I haven't in a little bit. Who's the last person I cut out? Probably Becca. So that's probably been, like, it's almost been a year, guys. 1 year anniversary of not having a narcissistic rage at somebody. I wonder if other people are experience things like this, where like you're aware of a behavior that you do, but you don't know how to go about changing it. I don't know if that's just like a personality disorder thing, rigid personalities, whatever. I'm trying to think of other, or when I was in some cases, self-awareness actually made me more prone to like lean into the behaviors. Not like the super toxic ones, but like for attention, for instance. When I realized that attention made me feel good the way it did, and I was like pretty young, I was still a teenager when I realized that. Like I started going on my way to get as much attention as I could, because I was like, that makes me feel good. It was like a high. I remember my first. I mean, it still feels like a high. I remember my first time realizing that shit because I was at a lunch table in high school, and I was making the entire table laugh. All the attention was on me, and I walked away euphoric. And I was like, because like I was really shy, leading up to that point. Like that's one of the first times I was really like gregarious. That's the right word, right? I hope it is. And like I was like I was blown away by it. I like texted a friend being like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" Like fucking. If somebody would have told me that they spiked my milk with cocaine, I would have believed them, just because that's how euphoric it felt. And from then on, I was dedicated to always having the amount of attention that I could, which by the end of high school was a lot of people. And even when it became overwhelming and obviously to my detriment and obviously distracting me from things I should be getting done instead, I was still pursuing it because it felt so damn good. And I was aware that I was aware of all of that. Then there's some things that like, I'm trying to think of like things that like I actively changed when I became aware of them when I was younger. Because most of them were just kind of like that. It's like, oh, I know why I do that now. Either lean into it or, that's just kind of a thing that happens. Mainly, it was just like the rage. The rage and dehumanizing people are the main things that changed, yeah. I mean, I don't know, I still dehumanize people, but like a lot less. Like I stopped. I learned that viewing people as like animals probably wasn't the best thing ever. And I tried not to use that kind of language towards people. But yeah, like, I don't know. Self-awareness doesn't do that much now I'm thinking about it. I mean, it does. It allows you to be able to work with things, but like, it doesn't change much. Not self-awareness on its own. And I think that's true of anybody, though. You can be self-aware of any of your mechanisms, but you're not putting active effort into changing them. Like, nothing's going to happen, right? And I think that's something really interesting that people assume about narcissists is because, like, this lack of self-awareness is stereotypically attributed to it. People think, oh, well, if they're self-aware, they can just stop. It's like, no, it's our personality, and as put in with as the DSM says, a rigid and inflexible one. It's if we have these pathological defense mechanisms, and just being aware of them doesn't change anything. It's the first step, right? That's how a door to healing can be achieved. But I do think it kind of leans in. I do think I hate this, like this symptom of, how do I put it? I hate this, like, there seems to be like almost a meme of people being like, well, narcissism is a choice. And it's like, okay, yeah, like just like bipolar is a choice, right? And it's really annoying. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of my behaviors are choices, right? But like some of my actions are choices, my behaviors and defense mechanisms aren't. I hope that made sense. Because it's like these are automatic responses. Like even when I'm aware of them, sometimes the emotions behind those feel so important that I like have a really hard time controlling them, and sometimes give in just because not to is like too much to bear. Trust me, if I could just stop being a narcissist, I probably would, or at least act the ones that are detrimental to me and make me feel like shit all the time. I don't know. This was a shitty video. I feel so out of it today. Why'd I record 3 videos today? I don't know. Probably because I drank all this coffee. Whatever. Take your fucking meds, guys. I'm out.